Thank you so much for obliging and joining us. I know it's not the best time of the day for getting onto another video event, but truly appreciate. This is very special for all of us, and town halls have become the norm these days for us to meet each other. And in fact, we have pushed a lot of people to the Facebook streaming to minimize the choking here, because we didn't know how much we can handle on Zoom. So a lot of colleagues are also watching on live Facebook, most of the field staff who must be in, probably in the field also on the motorcycles. So thank you everyone for joining, and thanks board members. What I would like is instead of me introducing each of you, I think it'd be good for you to just quickly introduce yourselves. Maybe we can start with that, and then I would like to have a short conversation before having the team also a chance to interact with the board. Welcome, Satya.
Yeah.
Great. So in the office just like half an hour back, I just ran back home. He's still in the
I know. So I have two colleagues here with me. So yeah.
Okay, so let me start with Mahesh, board chair. So Mahesh, would you please come in?
Although I'm the board chair, I would like Prachi or Swati to go first. People know me, right? So maybe Swati, you can get started, then Prachi.
Okay. Swati, please.
So good afternoon, everyone. And it is wonderful to meet you all, although virtually. Normally, when we have the board meetings, we don't get to see the front line soldiers, people who really carry sabke on their shoulders. So this is a good opportunity to meet you all. I'm from the banking background. I've spent most of my career in the bank and run through the whole gamut of products and services. And so sabke is a good fit for me. I'm very happy to be here, and I find it very purposeful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. Maybe Prachi, you want to go now? Yeah.
Sure, Shashi. Good evening, everyone. Such a special privilege to be having this opportunity at the end of the day, Shashi. I think it's longer for you to be sitting through such large meetings than for us. So very special opportunity. Indeed special to be here on the 11th anniversary of the company. It's a special number. It's also 11 years that I have completed at the foundation, and I would say in the development sector overall. So it's a special occasion for Sabke for sure. And it's knowing Sabke, it's 11 years of having served the most needy families who need the support with financial services. Each one of us knows, and you know the best, that how much these families needed and how much progress we are able to build for them. So many, many congratulations on achieving this milestone. This month also, Shashi, is the 10-year anniversary of Foundation's investment in Sabke. So at least the term sheet issuance. So there's also a long history here. Very quickly about myself, I'm the nominee director of Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. I've worked largely in education, but now I oversee all the work of the foundation, which is across financial inclusion, jobs and livelihoods, and education. And before that, I have spent many years in technology and management consulting. And being a part of the Sabke journey and being a part of Sabke's board, and what the company is looking to achieve, I really treasure it a lot. So looking forward to the interaction today.
Thank you, Prachi. Thanks for also bringing up the 10th year of our association. Last Friday, we did have Geeta talk to a larger audience about her journey with Sabke and the large impact investment world. So cherish that, and that's perfect timing to bring in Geeta also to interact with colleagues and public at large. Thank you. Abhishek, you want to go now?
Thank you very much, Sashi. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Although I think it seems to be the end of the day for a number of people, but my day is just beginning, given my counterpart in the US world. and given it is beginning now, it will continue to be there till little bit till midnight or so. But this is a wonderful opportunity to be part of this celebration, and was the part of the 10th year celebration, have been part of the 20th year basics group celebration. It just feels like this was like yesterday. Although I think this pandemic has been making every day to be counted like a year. But when I look at all those good moments which I have spent over the last couple of years with the Sabke group, it just all feels like it was just yesterday. Are we already in 11th year? So it's just unbelievable. Thank you very much, Shashi, for making us the part of it. It's such an honor and privilege. Quickly about myself, I'm Abhishek Agrawal, nominee board member for Axion on the board of Sabke. I have been in this microfinance development space for last 15, 17 years, otherwise with 20 plus years of work experience. First 5 years, I wasn't knowing what I'm doing. It was only in the later years I realized I need to jump into the microfinance, make the difference in the life of people, and those 15 years I really find meaningful in terms of my work experience. I'm a chartered accountant, MBA, PhD in finance. None of that is helping in terms of what I'm doing today. It's all the field work which all our colleagues are out there into the field. What I really learned on the field, why client needs money, how we can be in time, be out there to help them, how do we understand them better, is what really helps me today in managing my job, in spite of all having all these nice and fancy degrees, which helps me in my paycheck. But what really helps me in making this mission forward is that work in the field. So really hats off to the Sabke team and everyone. Quickly about Axion, as I'm sure many of our colleagues know, but given you have given me this opportunity, Shashi. So as Axion, we are 60 plus year old as financial inclusion enabler across the globe. We work as investor as well as enabler in this ecosystem. When I say enabler, we work with the companies very actively wherever the companies need our help. And in that context, I'm sure a number of Sabke colleagues will be meeting our Axion family members there. And then as an investor, we are invested only in financial services companies. In India, we have close to 20 plus investments. Across the globe, more than 100 plus investments in financial services space. Looking forward for more and more interactions, Shashi.
Thank you, Abhishek. I know you have a conflict, and thanks for obliging and making it. One request I have is if you can manage to mix some Hindi and English, then I think it will be a lot more
yes.
Easy to communicate with the rest of the community. So, maybe Satya, you want to go now?
Yeah. Thank you, Shashi. I think it's wonderful to have this event. Personally, it is very gratifying for me. And, I'm just remembering our 5-year celebration in that resort close to Chevella. After joining and Jitin joining and Mahesh also, I guess you remember that celebration we had. I think what is remarkable is that in the first 2-3 years of my time there, we really faced the very uncertain moments. While MSDF posed trust on us and gave the early investment, I think within less than 1 year of institution birth. But it was more coming to the environment. Basically, I remember our conversation with the investors saying that whether your model is really sustainable, whether this is worth investment and all those kind of conversations. But you and Jitendra joined and then really gave a very good focus, and with all our institutional strength, we could keep up with the expectation of the institutions and investors. And what is very, I think, for all of us is a proud moment is that we are really justifying Sabke name. The name, perhaps Sabke name was born before we wrote the mission statement for the company. So Vijay Mayan's dream was that we have to serve a transaction of less than 1,000 rupees within a kilometer distance to the customer. So I do still remember the place that we have traveled in Anandpur with VM, and we were doing that, with the voice message transactions doing and those things, etc. And we are really, doing that today. So we are serving customers with less than 1,000 rupees within a kilometer distance, and that is a great achievement for us. And we did stay with the mission and the financial inclusion during those uncertain days where, even serving with a BC point in a rural village. And I personally traveled to places in, Darjeeling, where access, BC points were there. It was so difficult to see even 5 transactions in a month. But today we are actually seeing 300 transactions in a month. That's really, really a great achievement. I think, it's a very proud moment for us. Thank you.
Satya, you may want to introduce a little bit about yourself. I know that many people know you, but there may be some new people.
Okay, so all of you, most of you know me. Basically, I come from a village, born and brought up. I did my SSC till in the village, and then I moved to Taluka headquarters for my 10+2, and I did graduation and post-graduation in my district headquarters, that is Karimnagar. I take pride in introducing that because the reason is that gave me a lot of advantage in understanding the rural thing. And then I had a 2-year stint with AP Productivity Council. I was actually working on a self-enterprise. I did set up an enterprise. I did set up the entire setup, but then post our liberalization, I could not raise any more money. So then I kind of handed over the unit to my partner there. And then, was into search of a job, and I happened to join a company which is located in the same Nirmal Towers where Basics was just coming up. So within a month, I got in touch with, Basics. I met Vijay Mahajan. And then after, interacting with, he said that, you come and join, kind of dialogue. That's where in 1996, July 10th, I joined. And out of that, I got, I'm very, I must mention that the talent recognition happens in Basics like that. So that happened thoroughly with me, and I got 3 promotions in first 3 years. And then, after that, I literally have grown from position to position. I had the opportunity to work initially on the operations. I did set up the first 2-3 operating units, moved to HR, and did set up the micro insurance vertical. Then became the chief operating officer of BSFL till 2010. Then I moved on to product design and other things. So then in 2012, I moved to Subcare as the CEO and MD for 4 years. And then subsequently, I moved to Beable as the CEO and MD in 2015. And last year, I kind of stepped down as the CEO and MD. So now I am the group CEO of Basics. So this is about me.
Thank you so much, Satya. I know that everyone is so glad to have you here. Some new colleagues, I think, should know CEO, and we unfortunately could not have the opportunity to meet in person for a long time. So thank you. Mahesh, you want to come in now?
Chance now. So, सबके के साथियों, सबको मेरी तरफ से नमस्कार. So, Shashi, you prompted me to say something in Hindi.
Thank you.
That's the extent of.
Thank you. So I just want to make 2. So I've been 2 connections here between what Prachi said and what Satya said, and obviously Swati and Abhishek also said. So the first connection is that now I've been with Subke more than 10 years. I think I was there. I predate the MSDF investment actually. So that's how old my proud association with Subke, right? I've enjoyed every moment of it and continue to enjoy the impact that Subke is doing, and the growth and the people that are so dedicated and passionate about the work that they do. Right? So that's the first thing, right? The second thing, I guess it will again be remiss on our part not to remember Vijay's mission, right? Satya was talking about the talent management and the way Vijay had a conversation and he grabbed him, right? So I distinctly remember. So just as a background, I grew up in India, all over India. Dad was in the central government. So every 3 years, we were just moving around. And just an interesting tidbit, I did my high schooling in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Port Blair. And I had an opportunity to see the only barren volcano in India. Right? It's called the Barren Island, right? I'm not sure it actually exists in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So That's the site, right? And I had the opportunity to visit the southernmost tip of India. It used to be called the Pygmalion Point, Indira Gandhi Point, right? So it is actually more south than Kanyakumari. Anyway, then I went to the US, many years, different things, and came back to India to work a lot more on the social impact. And during the first 3 years of my exploratory visits, I happened to sit next to Vijay in one of the flights from Hyderabad to Delhi. We had a good 2.5 hours. Vijay was trying to do some work. We got into a conversation non-stop. We talked, right, for more than 2.5 hours, right? And at the end of the conversation, Vijay goes, "I never spoken, right, such a long time continuously with anybody." So that was my connection with Vijay. And clearly after that, the association actually started. And there has been a lovely association. I've been a board member at BSFL, now with Sabke. So enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you with that, Alan.
Thank you so much. In fact, that long association aspect, I think, sticks all around, all the way from board member to the CSR, which is probably the hallmark of this organization. So I think more than half of our board members are the companies they associate with are with us for more than a decade, which is interesting. In that way, Swati is also a long-term associate of Basics Group. Been with many boards, with Sabke also for a while now. I think Swati has been now, what, 6 years?
Yes, that's right. I'm into my second term as independent director. Is Vijay joining us by any chance, Sasi?
We'll see.
So many references to him, because I think most of the board members have joined because of Vijay Mahajan. I stumbled upon him, or he came upon me, so to speak, when I was visiting Mehboob Nagar and the bank there. And just one day, Vijay Natkarni, some of you may know him, just said, "I want you to meet a very interesting person, and he may be the end of your search for reinventing yourself." So I said, okay. So from Mehboob Nagar, we traveled to Hyderabad, and there he was, Vijay Mahajan. I did not know much about him at the time, or, just a little bit. And then the rest, they say, is history. Like this 2.5 hour conversation that you had, we all ended up having a very long talk about who we were and what we were searching for. And Vijay Mahajan is kind of a net that draws you in. And once you are in his, influence, it's very difficult to get away, and happily so. So that's how I came upon Vijay Mahajan, and I do miss him today if he's not going to see around.
Yeah, very interesting. It's difficult to get away from what he got away from. But yeah, the kind of influence he leaves behind is not only about the person, but also the work, right, that he left behind, which we continue to pursue. And my story is no different. So that way, of course, everyone in the hall knows me, but the connect and the influence that Basics and Vijay have made on me personally also is no different than what you're talking about. Made me come back and sort of, in a way, pursue my dream of returning back to Basics and leading the good work Satya and VM have started with. So that's a privilege. I really feel very honored to be sitting here, talking to all of you and leading this institution. Thank you for those introductions. And I just wanted to, kind of keep it casual and informal. So I think it'll be interesting to know. Maybe we'll go maybe in the order back. Mahesh, maybe you can start with this. That you said you wanted to get into social space, and that's what you were in search of when you returned back to India. Why were you doing that? You were, I think, having a great career in US. I know you were in IIT, Harvard Business, McKinsey. Who would leave all that behind and come back in search of rural India? So just a bit more on what motivated you.
So I think maybe it was at some point of time you all realized that you achieved enough what in the US that you want to do something different. And the aspiration to come back to India is always there, like many people, right, who have come back to India now, right? Prachi, I'm sure included, right? And when you come back to India, right, you did not want to do exactly the same things that you did in the US. You want to do something very different. And I guess there was a temptation for me, and I did explore joining nonprofits also at that time, but very quickly realized that nonprofits don't scale, right? There's an inherent limitation in their ability, and they're all very founder-centric, right? Institutionalizing foundations to create massive impact is difficult and still continues to be difficult. And back in 2008, 2009, right, you were seeing the changes starting with the microfinance institutions, right, converting from nonprofits to for-profits, right? So I just happened to stumble upon it when I was searching, and I said, this is the business model, and I knew that it's going to spread in many other sectors. It was back in 2007, 2008, actually. So that's when I decided that I wanted to be in the sector, and I've been involved with many companies since then, in the agriculture, biodiesel. So anyway, many different companies. So that was my motivation. But I knew that this is what is going to be the future, and started to just focus my energies there.
Thank you. That's very inspiring, and I'm sure a lot, of the entrepreneurs you work with also, I think, draw a lot of inspiration, like I do, by associating with you. Thank you. Maybe Abhishek, you want to also kind of throw some light on what motivates Axion, and also you personally to work in this space. You have also kind of traveled around and bumped into development space, I believe. So what makes you feel being here as a professional, and what does Axion want to achieve here in this space?
Sure, Shashi. No, thank you very much. I think taking a reflection of it, and I mentioned it's the last 15 years of work which I have been doing, I find meaningful. So my influx point came when I was really in Afghanistan, and as I was in Afghanistan, I was working for World Bank, which back in those days was my dream job: be a World Bank consultant, get the tax-free dollars and hefty salaries, all that. And interestingly, I was asked to go on a field visit to see the microfinance institutions for the government. There was some actions, some work being done as a joint task force, and I happened to be the part of that. And as I was into the field, my eyes were wide open how a $50 loan can change the life of the people. So I met a family where this small family was doing some random stuff from the home, did not had a lot to support. He was like a vegetable seller who will have vegetables worth 100-200 रुपए की वेजिटेबल्स लेकर के वो रोज इकट्ठी करके फिर उनको बेचने के लिए बाजार में रोज के रोज चला जाता था, और उसमें वो 25, 30, 50 रुपए की जो इसकी इनकम होगी उस दिन की, उससे आकर के वो अपने 5 लोगों की फैमिली को सपोर्ट करता था. और अफगानिस्तान में इस माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन ने उनको 3000 रुपए का एक लोन दिया था, जहां पर वो उससे रोज के रोज उससे 20 रुपए की किस्त इकट्ठी करते थे. और अगेन उस समय तक मैं वर्ल्ड बैंक का कंसल्टेंट था, जहां पे लाखों करोड़ों में मैं अपने खर्चे, वाउचर्स, एक्सपेंडिचर्स, कहाँ खर्चा होगा, क्या करना है, पॉलिसी लेवल, करोड़ों में बात होती थी वहां पे. और मैं यहाँ खड़ा हूँ फील्ड में, जहाँ 20 रुपए की इंस्टॉलमेंट कोई कलेक्ट करने आ रहा है और 2,500-3 हजार रुपए में किसी की लाइफ बदल दी गई है. एंड आई वेंट बैक एंड दिस स्टेड विद मी काफी समय तक, मोर और लेस लाइक स्लीपलेस नाइट्स फॉर मी बैक इन दोज डेज, कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि 20 रुपए आप इकट्ठे कर करके आप एक इतना बड़ी संस्था चला सकते हो. और उस समय तक मेरे पास जो माइक्रो फाइनेंस का ज्ञान था वो सिर्फ मोहम्मद यूनिस जी की जो बुक है ए बैंकर टू द पुअर वही था, लेकिन मैंने उसको फिक्शन नॉवेल के रूप में पढ़ा था कि हाँ जी मतलब अच्छी बात है, हो सकता है होता होगा, तब तक कोई वास्ता नहीं पड़ा. और जब इसको देखा तो फिर रियलाइज हुआ कि नहीं, दुनिया में और भी कुछ है, और ये चीजें हैं जिससे कि आप वाकई किसी की मदद कर सकते हैं और एक बिजनेस भी चला सकते हैं. और जब मैंने इसको और करीब से जानने की कोशिश की, पहले तो मुझे लगा नहीं मतलब 20 रुपए में क्या है, ठीक है, जैसा महेश जी ने बोला कि एनजीओ के नाम पे कुछ चलता रहता है, थोड़े बहुत खर्चे होते रहते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत अच्छा दिखाते रहते हैं. तो फिर मैंने इसको स्टडी करने की कोशिश की और ज्यादा नजदीक जाकर के पता चला नहीं, उस 20 रुपए में 1 रुपया इंटरेस्ट के नाम पे है और 19 रुपए सिर्फ प्रिंसिपल के हैं. एंड देन आई वाज इवन मोर कंफ्यूज्ड. हियर आई एम, पीएचडी इन फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, एमबीए, एंड आई एम नाउ वंडरिंग ये 1 रुपए इंटरेस्ट में क्या होने वाला है, और आप कब तक 1-1 रुपया कलेक्ट करेंगे और कितने लोगों से कलेक्ट करेंगे अपने आप को सस्टेनेबल बनाने के लिए. So long story short, शशि आपने पूछा तो I think that was my influx point कि जो मैं पैसा अपने डिनर में अपने दोस्तों के साथ बाहर जाके खर्च कर देता हूँ, उस पैसे से एक बिजनेस मॉडल बनाया जा सकता है, उस पैसे से आप लोगों की मदद कर सकते हैं और उनकी लाइफ चेंज कर सकते हैं. So that stayed with me in 2005, Sashi, and that was my turning point to the microfinance world. I left my dream job at World Bank, took significant pay cut. It costed me a lot. Although the good part is my family was supportive, my wife was very supportive. बोली नहीं ठीक है, तुमको अगर अच्छा लगता है, तुमको जमता है तो करो. And took the plunge in the microfinance. And then I again, that was my learning point. I was never expert because मेरा काम कुछ दूसरा था, मैं यहाँ सीखने कुछ दूसरा आया था और चाहता था कि क्या मैं वाकई कुछ बदलाव अपने अंदर या जो ये हो रहा है उसमें ला सकता हूँ. And I took it up as a challenge to myself and did not cared about what I'm going to get paid because learning के लिए आपको पे करना होता है. जब आप स्कूल जाते हैं, कॉलेज जाते हैं, आपको फीस पे करनी होती है. तो मैं माइक्रो फाइनेंस को समझना चाहता था, तो मैं कैसे एक्सपेक्ट कर सकता था कि नहीं मुझे हेफ्टी सैलरी मिलेगी, ये मिलेगा. बट दैट लर्निंग वाज ग्रेट एंड आई वर्कड इन अफगानिस्तान, देन आई वर्कड इन मिडिल ईस्ट, फिर मैं अफ्रीका में भी काम किया और जहां जहां मैंने काम किया एक अलग ही रोमांच, लोगों की मदद करने का जज्बा और वाकई लोगों को इम्प्रूव होते हुए देखना कि कैसे आप किसी फैमिली को सपोर्ट करते हैं और फिर वो फैमिली कैसे धीरे धीरे धीरे, ये सब एक मैजिकल वर्ड की तरह था मेरे लिए. एंड देन एज मैं यूएस में था बैक इन 2009-10, the thought kept on coming कि should I stay and settle in US or should I be to the field. और उसी समय ये था कि नहीं, अगर हिंदुस्तान में माइक्रो फाइनेंस इस तरीके से बढ़ रहा है तो मैं बाहर यूएस में रह के क्या करूंगा. I think given I'm an Indian, I need to go back to India and help and support the cause of the microfinance, helping people in whatever way I can. And that's how I joined Axion in US and I came to India. Now, everybody has been referring the association with Vijay, with Sabke, with the Basics group. So we also have very, very interesting association and relationship with Vijay as well as Basics and Sabke. In fact, जब भी हम investment करते हैं तो as investment officer, as the person responsible on the ground, हमको बड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है मैनेजमेंट को समझाने के लिए कि नहीं जी देखिए ये इन्वेस्टमेंट इसमें ये अच्छा है, ये अच्छा है. सबके के केस में हमको वो कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा. क्यों? क्योंकि विजय महाजन जी, हमारे जो सीईओ हैं माइकल श्लायन, उनको अपने साथ में फील्ड विजिट पे लेके गए थे. मुझे अभी भी याद है, उनके साथ विक्टोरिया वाइट भी थी. मैं नहीं था उस फील्ड विजिट पे, पर मुझे बाद में जिस तरीके से बताया गया कि तो विजय महाजन जी और माइकल श्लायन और विक्टोरिया वाइट, ये तीनों फील्ड विजिट पे थे राजस्थान के किसी डिजर्टेड एरिया में, विलेजेस में. और वहां पर उस समय रियल टाइम बेसिस पे आप कैश इन कैश आउट, जो सबके की यूनिक टेक्नोलॉजी थी, उसके बेसिस पे आप कैश इन कैश आउट कर रहे थे, जहां कोई बैंकिंग आउटलेट्स नहीं थे. और इतने डीप इंटीरियर में जाकर के उस काम को करना लेफ्ट ए लॉन्ग लास्टिंग इम्प्रेशन ऑन माइकल. और उसी से मैं डिसाइड हुआ था कि नो वी हैव टू डू समथिंग with the basics group, with the सबके group. We have been figuring it out. And सबके के लिए आई थिंक पूरे मैनेजमेंट में एक्सियन में खास सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर है. एंड इट इज नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ एनीथिंग एल्स, इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द यूनिक वर्क जो फील्ड में, जो बीइंग इनोवेटिव, बीइंग डिफरेंशिएटेड, जो बाकी लोग करने से पहले सोचते हैं. आई थिंक जो डीप एम्पैथी क्लाइंट्स के लिए सबके ग्रुप में, वेदर इट इज CSR और इट इज द टॉप मैनेजमेंट, जो बाकी जगह पर देखने को नहीं मिलती. ये आपका जज्बा है कि आप हर चीज में पहल करते हुए वहां पर जाकर के उस कस्टमर के लिए जिसको कि वो सर्विसेज नहीं मिल रही हैं, उनके अपने नजरिए से समझते हुए उनको ये प्रोवाइड करने की कोशिश करते हैं. और उसी की वजह से पूरे एक्सियन के नेटवर्क में सबके ऑलवेज हैज अ वेरी वेरी सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर, which makes my job very easy. Whenever I have to tell something about Sabke, I think things happen far more softer and smoother for me. Sashi.
Thank you, Abhishek. I think last time when we did the 10th year anniversary, Michael blessed us with his presence along with my MasterCard's vice chair. And he was repeating that thing as if, every time he comes in a meeting and talks about Sabke in such a high spirit. So thank you for reiterating that. And we hope we'll stand to that, it kind of raises our responsibility towards meeting the expectations that you are setting. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Shashi. मैं यही कहना चाहता था कि I think जब भी ऐसी चीज होती है तो काफी दारोमदार हमारे अपने CSRs के ऊपर और मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर आ जाता है. इसका मतलब एक्सपेक्टेशंस दूसरी तरफ बहुत ज्यादा हैं और हम अपने आप को कभी उस पर फेल नहीं होने दे सकते. So absolutely, Shashi.
We'll try to keep it up. Thank you. So maybe Prachi, you want to go now, and what is your motivation? Because I know you spent a bit of time in corporate world and jumped the fence, and now MSDF. People heard about MSDF a little bit in the webinar, but I think from your perspective, how do you see your career changing into this space, and why did you do that, and what does it mean for you?
So, if it's okay, I'll just start with a small, short experience I had this morning, which I think is a common experience in all of our homes, is that of virtual schooling. सबके बच्चे मेरे ख्याल से घर से पढ़ रहे हैं, स्कूल अभी खुले नहीं है. So ये एक लाजपत नगर का स्कूल है. We have been supporting it for many years, and this is a government school, so children don't come from very well-off families. So the class started with 3 kids, camera turned on. I think वो तो सारे teachers का pet peeve है, camera on कीजिए. So the teacher also started like that. There was one particular child in this class जिसका camera on था. 3 kids का camera on था. This one particular boy struck my attention. I could make out that he's in a one-room house, क्योंकि वो उस कमरे में वो था, उसका छोटा भाई था और मम्मी थी, और मम्मी कुकिंग कर रही थी. तो एक कमरे का घर था. You can make out from the room that what the family must be like. And he was trying to participate very actively. तो जितनी बार वो मुझे लगता है कुछ बोलने की कोशिश, कैमरा तो उसका ऑन नहीं था, बोलने की कुछ कोशिश करता था क्योंकि टीचर काफी क्वेश्चंस पूछ रही थी. मुझे तो उसके साथ ही प्रेशर कुकर की सीटी ऑन हो जाती थी. तो बेचारा वहां से उठ के एक और कोने में जाता था, फिर अपना ऑडियो ऑन करता था, कुछ बोलने की कोशिश करता था, पीछे से छोटा भाई बोलता था या प्रेशर कुकर की सीटी बोलती थी. बट वो बच्चा जाता ही रहा, और he must have been like the most active participant in the class. It was a tough topic today. It was a grade 5 class. The teacher was teaching patterns like 5, 10, 15. इसके आगे का पैटर्न बताइए. Like he was making his attempts. जितनी बार पैटर्न्स आए, सीधी गिनती, उल्टी गिनती, सारे अपनी तरफ से attempt करके करे. And by the end, I think when I looked at him, I thought he really got the concept. In that room, in those circumstances, despite everything which was there, and it was not because his effort alone. The teacher was trying so hard, किसी तरह से बुलाना, बच्चों को बार-बार बोलना, please video on करिए, मैं आपके साथ एक secret share करूंगी, so on and so forth. I'm relating this incident because this really is what, the MSDF journey has been for me. What we try to do is so hard. I mean, I think all of our children complain about space, internet, connectivity, not having a good enough laptop, or maybe it's just my kids. But despite those circumstances, I could see that child is on a phone. वो 4 कोनों में अपने घर के बैठ के, he kept trying, the teacher kept trying, the organization which runs this program kept trying, and at the end it worked, right? So I really think, this is what my journey at the foundation has been, that the problems that we are trying to solve are hard. I mean, अगर easy होती तो शायद आज तक solve ही हो जाती. There is full recognition that what we are trying to do is very hard, but there is immense progress being made. And you keep shifting the goalpost as you go along, just like Sabke is doing. Sabke's journey in that sense has been very interesting because like I said, we've been investors from the very beginning, and it's like an exemplary journey of resilience. We started with a product, we changed that product. I mean, all of us just hung in there, right? Because the problem is worth solving. And I think that's what brought me to the sector, that, if there is anything worth doing, any problem worth solving, and anything which I should apply myself to, and if I'm able to make a difference, feel proud about, it is this set of problems, the problems in the development sector, with full humility that these problems are way harder than us. And honestly, this is something that I always wanted to do. But मुझको लगता था, like, what will I do? What can a person like me do? अगर मैं कल बोलती भी हूँ कि, I want to go and solve the problem of access of financial services in India, like, what will I do? What can I possibly do? Just like, Abhishek and Mahesh were saying कि किसी एक NGO के लिए काम करने से या किसी एक organization के साथ काम करने से या 10 बच्चों के साथ या 10 families के साथ, how far will we go? So truly, I jumped because I found a possibility that it is possible to make this change happen. I mean, I think all of us who've grown up in India, I've grown up in a very middle class family in Dehradun, have grown up seeing what the realities of coming from a privileged background and an underprivileged background in India is. I think that recognition was always there, but what I didn't know, can I contribute to that space? Is there something I can do? And when that possibility opened up in terms of the work at the foundation, I just jumped. I mean, unlike many other thought through plans, maybe kuch zyada planning nahi thi. I was doing a pretty good job at a consulting firm. I just jumped and I said, if I can do it, then why not? I don't have to wait for my retirement as this post retirement career or something that you just have to do when you've achieved a lot in life and now it's time to give back to the society. It is something that in whichever shape and form at whatever stage we can do, but then we have to do a good job. That's the only thing I feel, that just the fact that we are here and we are saying we want to do this is not good enough. I mean, if you're not making an impact, if you're not making a change, it is not worth doing it. So there should be definitely some impact to be counted for it. And through MSDF, I've gotten the opportunity to work with many organizations like Sabke, many large missions and mandates in terms of improving the lives of people who need that help the most in India. And the change is happening, and the possibility that I've played somewhere personally a small part in that is what keeps me here.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful story and then your journey. So very, very inspiring. I think all of you have options, and you chose to travel this journey. I think that's a very important and tough call. Thank you for joining us that way right in this journey as well. Swati, you've been a career banker, and you could have happily retired and not bothered about. So why Sabke? What are you doing here, right? So
अब सबको सुनते कि मैं देख रही हूँ कि भाई इतनी बढ़िया नौकरियां प्रोफेशन छोड़ के यूएस में यहाँ वहाँ और छोड़ के आके सबके में बैठे हो सब लोग, तब मुझे लगता है कि हमारे सबके दिमाग में कीड़ा बैठा है जो हमें छटपटाट करता रहता है. Somewhere we are looking to make a difference. All of us. I think those who have left, plush jobs और यहाँ आ गए हिंदुस्तान में और सबके जैसे इंस्टीट्यूशंस में ज्वाइन किया, हमारे सबके पीछे एक कीड़ा घूम रहा है कि भाई कुछ करो. And for a long time, बहुत टाइम से मैं I will repeat in हिंदी कि भाई सपने वो नहीं होते जो आपको रात को आते सोते पे, सपने वो होते कि जो आपको सोने नहीं देते. And that kind of wanting to make a difference, and I will tell you a story that has guided me in my life. आपने सबने सुना होता कि एक बार बहुत waves आए और बहुत सारी मछलियां सागर किनारे छटपटा रही थी क्योंकि वो सागर में से फेंक गई थी, और एक आदमी था एक मछली को वापस दरिया में डाल रहा था. तो किसी ने आके पूछा, भाई इतने तो करोड़ों मछलियां हैं, आप कब तक ये काम करते रहोगे, कितनों को बचाओगे? तो उसने कहा, एक उठाई मछली और फेंकी और बोला, I made a difference to that one. So it really is not the quantum of difference that you think you can make, but it's the lives that you touch. And microfinance has one very important, ramification. हम जो डेमोक्रेसी की बात करते हैं ना, हर जगह डेमोक्रेसी होनी चाहिए, डेमोक्रेसी ग्रास रूट पे बिल्ड होनी चाहिए. वो ग्रास रूट पे उसके जड़ होने चाहिए, चाहे फैमिली में हो, चाहे इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हो. एंड माइक्रो फाइनेंस एक जरिया है to also build democracy, to build independence, and build it at the grassroots level पे इकोनॉमिक एम्पावरमेंट से लोग सोचने लगेंगे, लोग जागरूक होंगे और अपना काम करेंगे. सो फॉर मी इट वाज अ नो ब्रेनर. Actually joining Sabke was no brainer at all, because I came from a bank that prided itself on trust and values and its connection to its employees. And look at Sabke, you got people with 10 years of association and so forth. What makes them stay? What makes them so devoted to this institution? So, it answered a lot of my questions, and I'm still answering, like the rest of you. We are still looking for, ways, and we are looking to make that difference, all of us. And I think Sabke is an important part of that journey. So for me, joining Sabke was no brainer. I, in fact, explored a lot of avenues and met a lot of people. Let me tell you that, because I wanted to reinvent myself. मैं कुछ नया करना चाहती थी. मैं फाइनेंस से आई थी, कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड से आई थी, वो मैं करना नहीं चाहती थी. आई वांटेड टू गो बैक टू दैट कीड़ा, वो अंदर जो कीड़ा बैठा था इतने सालों बाद भी वो मुझे कुछ कह रहा था. वो मुझे कह रहा था कि तुम कुछ और करो, तुम कुछ और दिशा में जाओ. तो इट वाज a good happy marriage, and of my values of Sabke, and the type of organization that I came from and the type of organization that Sabke is. They are very much aligned. DNA share karte hain ye dono. So to me, it was a very happy homecoming. You can say second homecoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. It feels so nice to know that you found your next home, I would say, after your long association with SBI. Of all, I must say, I always felt Satya's story is the most inspiring. The way he sustained for 25 long years in this particular story of building all the basics and then the Sabke. I think it's important to hear what kept him going. It's he was my boss when I first joined in my previous life. Then I rejoined after all the world tour that I did and all the degrees that I acquired. He was still my boss when I joined him back. So the way he really managed to stick around and grow and sort of sustain all the challenges that came along. And today he carries a very big load on himself, which is left behind by Vijay Mahajan. Satya, so we'll be glad to hear what kept you going.
Shashi, I think, fortunately and unfortunately, I did not had much life outside basics. So, that, two, three things I wanted to mention. That when I joined basics, in the very first 1 month, I asked Vijay Mahajan one question. That we were trying to recruit somebody, we were offering a 12,000 rupees salary to that person. 12,000 rupees salary in 96, was a very significant amount actually. I did ask in the, we used to travel in the ambassador all the time, right? We used to have this, and we used to travel 200 kilometers one way and 200 kilometers back. I was asking that how it is sustainable to pay 12,000 rupees salary to a person who is hardly doing any business, and how this is going to work. And he told me, Satya, you're right, you asked the right person, and I know, but we need people who can comprehend and, we understand the nature of the work, and they have to create institutional tools which are going to help us, and perhaps this 12,000 will come down to 6,000 in 2-3 years down the line. And that's what Shashi is you joined me, I think 3-4 months after joining, and Bonam Srinivas, I guess he's there. So Bonam joined and all his colleagues. The second thing was that, I didn't tell much about my entrepreneurial life, but I simply spent 3 years time to get a loan of 3.62 lakhs from Andhra Pradesh State Financial Corporation. Was an award winner all through those years. You can imagine. So I spent 3 years, and this is after 1 year training program on entrepreneurial development program by Andhra Pradesh government. The Setwin was the agency which sponsored that. With 1 year of training, and we met all those technocrats and we saw their plans. And then they gave us motivational speeches and their experience and all that. After that, I took 3 years time to get a 3.62 lakhs loan. And I was hanging with AP Productivity Council because I have to survive also. So I was kind of doing a job at the same time looking, etc. And after joining basics, within 10-12 days, we traveled to Bethamcharla. And on the way back, we sanctioned 6 loans of an average of 5.6 lakhs to Bethamcharla polishing stone units. Indeed, actually, I told myself I have arrived here for all the work that I have done and my tough life during the 3 years of entrepreneurial life, that here I joined a company within 10 days time, we could sign a check for 5.6 lakhs to 5 of them, each 5.6 lakhs. And I still remember Dilip Pense was on our board at that point of time. So when we submitted the proposals, Dilip Pense asked that, who has done this? So I said, I did it. So what's your background? I told sir, this is my background, that I prepared my project profile, I submitted to the institution, I answered all the questions, and that all helped me. He told me, he was the Tata Finance managing director at that point of time. He said that, Vijay, I can tell you that this kind of proposals we don't get to see in our office, even for a very experienced colleague. So the thing is, I think it gave several times to the message that there's something called self-actualization, right? You suddenly realize that now you're really able to do something very good. That happened year after the year, and Malcolm Harper, we used to interact with him, and the conversations were so rich at every point of time. So I think more than the microfinance contribution, I think Basics did the creation of the sector in terms of creating so many people who joined the banks and insurance companies subsequently. It is only because of our value system. Basically, we always, kind of followed those things. It only gave me all the time energy every time, go and you remember we both traveled in Bhadrachalam, crossing the river number of times, when river was flowing and all those. And I was worried about Madhavan, who worked in Afghanistan, and later on he gone. And he doesn't know swimming, so I was worried that you don't know swimming, then you have to cross the river with us. So, and he has to travel to that Ralabanjar village in Kallur, which is on the side of the big canal. Water flows all the time. I'm so worried that this fellow does not know even swimming. How can he go to? So we've had so much of concerns of colleagues and the value system and all that. I think that's what is remarkable for Basics. We all lived through. So that's what I say, that great self-satisfaction in a way.
Incredible. You remember names of those villages, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 plus years. That's I think what is the real spirit in terms of getting connected to the ground. Thank you, Satya, for sharing that. So last question I have, maybe before I ask, let me see if anybody wants to ask any question to the board among the employees here. So anybody wants to ask a question with the board, here is a chance. Anything. Feel free. Namrata, I think, can people unmute themselves to ask, or they want to put something on the chat box? They can feel free.
Preferable to put on the chat box. We'll unmute them if there's a question.
Yeah, if anybody wants to ask a question, please ping on the chat box, or if they can ask the question on the chat box, feel free.
Shashi, VM joined.
VM has joined, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
I do know. I want to keep that as a surprise, but nobody, VM can't escape that. So, yeah, VM, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So nice to see you. While. So
I'm so glad I caught the last portion of Satya's talk, all the way from his getting the bank loan to his giving the loans in Bethamcharla to swimming across the canal and Ralabanjar. So.
Yeah, no, good that you did not join the first part, because everybody was speaking about you. So it would have been a bit embarrassing.
Yes, just as well.
But great to see you back in full strength. You're a fighter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So I was just hoping somebody may have some question. Yeah. So there's a question here. So for the board, and yeah, anybody wants to take a chance on that? What vision do you want to lay for Subke in next whatever 5-7 years? What are you seeing as an outlook for Subke? Maybe Prachi, Abhishek, one of you may want to go this.
Prachi, you want to go ahead, or we should ask Mahesh, given he's the chair, representing all of our voice.
Mahesh keeps speaking with people in town hall, so I believe I think it'll be good.
Yeah, they already heard my views, so I think they want something new.
I could go, and then I'm sure Abhishek will add. So, so the vision is, things that should change or grow, and things that should not change. So I think one thing I'll really hope for Subke is that our customer orientation never changes. We are very, very strong on our customer orientation. I cannot think of a single board conversation or any business planning, or, anything that we've done where we have moved away from customer orientation. So I hope that, wherever Subke goes in 7 years, that part of Subke becomes even stronger than what it is today, but not a bit lower than what it is today. So that's something that I hope in my 7-year vision of Subke, it does not change. What I hope will grow is the impact that we are able to bring about in the country, and not just, the I would say small set of expanse or regions that we have today. So, just like I was relating the story of this child from the morning, that, when you look at that child, you don't see the challenges there, right? You don't see कि एक कमरे के घर में बैठा हुआ है. You don't see कि, laptop नहीं है, phone है. You actually see कि despite all of that, वो बैठ के उसने पढ़ लिया, समझ लिया और निकल गया. Similarly, when I visit Subke customers, I actually don't see the challenge of their business not growing or the credit not being available. I just see that aspiration and ambition in the entrepreneur. मुझे तो इन्होंने 1 लाख का ही लोन अप्रूव करा, मुझे तो 5 लाख का लोन चाहिए था, मुझे वो नेक्स्ट दुकान खरीदनी है. I today am only a manufacturer, but मैं distributor भी बन सकता हूँ. So that's the aspiration of the entrepreneurs that I hope we can, whether it is our MFI loan or it's our MSME loans or the host of new loans that Subke and Shashi plan to launch, and through our marketplace vision, we'll reach millions of customers. But I think that the vision has to be building on the vision of every single entrepreneur out there who looks upon our financial services as a way to realize their dreams. And I hope we can realize it for millions of our customers with the same customer orientation that we have.
Thank you, Prachi. We'll try to keep up to that vision, and I think it's very much aligns with the overall spirit on which we are working. So thank you so much. Abhishek? You are on mute. You can't unmute? Oh, can someone help unmute Abhishek? Sorry, you might have got. Yeah, I will unmute you. Yeah. Can you take it? Yes.
Yeah, this is my powers of muting and muting were taken away from me.
Time's up, 7 o'clock. I told all board members should
Exactly. No, I think Prachi ne already is मामले में कि what is our vision for next 7 years or where we should be. Prachi has already very well laid out, and I would say I really endorse in the similar way what she has just said, because customer centricity is something which is really at the heart of Subke, how we have been, and I think I said this in the beginning of my words, that how we have been very impressed from a customer focused, customer empathy and customer centricity. So while keeping the customer centricity in mind, what we also need to have is a right balance of innovation and the focused approach for growth. And why I'm saying growth is very, very important, as Prachi said in so many articulative words, which I cannot. It's really to make those entrepreneurs' dream realized. It's not just to make Sabke grow and make this another, one out of the 10 large financial institutions. Those are one of the outcomes. But what we really need to see from the bottom of our heart is how we are able to change why I'm there, why I'm here. As I mentioned, because I was able to see how that 3,000 rupees loan changed the life of that farmer family. Similarly, I think, if we are out there and if we keeping those two angles, customer centricity, customer empathy, and innovative approach, if we can reach out to millions and millions of entrepreneurs in making their dreams realized. सत्या ने अभी इसी बारे में बात की, जब उनको 3.5 लाख रुपए का लोन मिलने में चैलेंज था, उनको इतनी पढ़ाई करने के बाद, इस तरह की एंटरप्रेन्योरियलशिप सेल में रहने के बाद, तो आई थिंक ये हमारा फर्ज बनता है इस देश के लिए और अपने सभी उन उद्यमियों के लिए, उन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए, कि हमारे हाथ में वो पावर दी है, हमारे हाथ में वो पावर सबके ने दी है कि हम एक ऐसा इंस्टीट्यूशन बना पाए हैं कि हम ऐसे सभी उद्यमियों की जाकर के मदद कर सकें और अपना जॉब भी कर सकें. मतलब हम अपना जॉब कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए पेड पे स्लिप भी मिल रही है, और साथ ही साथ में हम ना सिर्फ देश को बढ़ा पा रहे हैं, बट उनके सबके ड्रीम रियलाइज करवा पा रहे हैं. So I think with whatever force we can continue to accelerate it and grow it, which means reach to more millions and millions of people out there, would really be my vision and dream from an subcase perspective. And if to keep it short, if it means that we want to be number one, then that can be number one also. But I don't mean to be number one just because of the rat race. It's because of how I want to help millions and millions of entrepreneurs out there.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks for inspiring us with that. Swati, I'd like to hear your vision for Sabke.
Both of ये प्राची और अभिषेक दोनों ने ये कहा कि कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी बहुत जरूरी है, एंड सबके को ये चीज कभी नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए. फ्यूचर इन एनी बिजनेस बिलोंग्स टू हु ओन्स द कस्टमर, एंड हम लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं. बैंक्स जा रही है, गांव में जा रही है, कस्बों में जा रही है, मगर घरों में नहीं जा रही है, जो चीज हम कर पा रहे हैं. तो हमें कस्टमर ओनरशिप चाहिए. कस्टमर, वी शुड ओन द कस्टमर. और वो कैसे ओन कर सकते हैं? तो आउट ऑफ ट्रस्ट एंड क्रेडिबिलिटी. एंड ट्रस्ट इज नॉट समथिंग दैट एवरीवन जस्ट बैंडीज अबाउट. यहाँ वहाँ बातें करते रहते. ट्रस्ट इज अर्न. वो कमानी पड़ती है, और वो बहुत मेहनत के साथ कमानी पड़ती है. और वो जब बनती है, जब एवरीवन इन दी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जो हमारे साथ साथी सब लोग हैं, एकजुट होके एक मंत्र स्वीकार करके ये कहते हैं कि यस, वी विल डील विद आवर कस्टमर इन दिस वे. ये हमारा कस्टमर के साथ डील करने का तरीका है. एंड इफ द कस्टमर हमारे साथ है तो सबके कहीं नहीं गया. हमारे पास चैलेंजेस तो बहुत है आज के दिन. इतने सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस और यूनिट्स ये एरिया में काम कर रहे हैं. गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशंस आर कमिंग, एंड लॉट ऑफ चर्न इज हैपनिंग. लॉट ऑफ उथल-पुथल हो रही है ये सेक्टर में. तो जीतेगा वही जो हु ओन्स द कस्टमर एंड हु हैज द कस्टमर्स ट्रस्ट एंड फेथ, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. सेकेंडली, जीतेगा वो जो जिसको आता है, जिसका बिजनेस मॉडल है कि लोएस्ट ऑफ द लो, जो सबसे नीचे है, उसको कैसे हम प्रॉफिटेबल भी बनाए और उनको लायक भी बनाए कि वो ऊपर आए. एंड थर्डली, टेक्नोलॉजी तो है ही कि हमें टेक्नोलॉजी राइट करना ही है. वो सर्वाइव करेंगे जो टेक्नोलॉजी का अच्छी तरह से इस्तेमाल करते हैं. और टेक्नोलॉजी कभी, मुझे लगता है कि सबके को, ये हम नहीं कर रहे कि डिजिटली इलिटरेट एंड डिजिटली लिटरेट को डिवाइड कर रहे हैं सबके जैसे एंटिटीज, क्योंकि हमारा नैरो होते जाना भी ठीक नहीं है कि हम फ्रंट ऑफिस इतना हम टेक्नोलॉजी लिटरेट लोगों के लिए बना दे कि वी आर एक्सक्लूडिंग वास्ट नंबर्स ऑफ पीपल हु मे नॉट बी टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी. सो सबके को वो बैलेंस रखना है. एंड अगर वो बैलेंस रहता है तो टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी बेस्ट यूज्ड. वी आर बेस्ट प्लेस हमारे इंटेंशंस अच्छे हैं, हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी अच्छी, हमारे लोग कितने अच्छे हैं. So there is no way Sabke cannot do well.
Thank you, Swati. Really appreciate that. Before we yield the floor to VM, I just want Mahesh and Satya to answer the second question that came from the audience. Do you really think that we should go beyond borders?
So I think we should go beyond borders, maybe after 2 years or so. But Shashi, I had two specific points to mention on the vision thing, etc. I would be sticking with the customer, and I think today the credit is fairly available, except in very remote location. The credit is available, abundant. But on the micro savings and micro insurance, really not significant things are happening. And despite we have done a lot of work on micro insurance, and I think because of the advantage of the technology, Sabke should be able to kind of come out with the micro savings products and insurance products in collaboration with the bankers. And it will be good if Sabke becomes a bank over a period of time, so that you can do that in house. See, I had this concept. I actually mentioned to VM also quite a few times that we tend to give very short-term loans to the customers. That's fundamental mistake, basically. We should give longer duration to the customer for repayment of the loan. And the customer should be continuing to pay the same amount, irrespective whether his account is closed or not. And that should kind of ultimately give cumulative savings to the customers. Because I've seen many people, if somebody has taken 20,000 rupees loan, if he's paying 1,000 rupees every month, he would have the ability to pay that 1,000 rupees towards savings even after the closure of the loan also. So that means, you should actually migrate to a saving customer from a credit customer, and we should give seamless product for that kind of thing, etc. The micro insurance is something that we have a lot of expertise in that, and etc. Only unfortunately, I think the insurance sector did not grow as expected. I hope that we will do something ahead. Thank you.
We are moving in the direction. So as you know, we are trying to change the article. So once we do, at least we will start something, and we definitely leverage on the experience that we have, and hopefully we'll probably go back to the level of depth that we have reached in basics. Yeah, thank you, Satya. Mahesh, last word to you.
Yeah. So in my mind, if the vision is that we're going to be extremely successful in all dimensions, especially in making impact, for me, international is just a very small tidbit, right? If you're successful in India, clearly that model has to be propagated, implemented in the rest of the world. Not only that, we'll have to learn from other countries. So this, in a way, we should be unbounded, right? But it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when, right? And that we'll have to make that move. So I think our vision should be there. And sooner the better.
Thank you, Mahesh. We'll achieve that. And with that, I think in the interest of time, I would like to wrap up this part of the celebrations.
So can I just have one word?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to conclude by one poem. So now, since you said हिंदी में बात करना है ना, अभी मैंने हिंदी में एक पोएम लिखा है, एक थोड़ी बता देता.
Go ahead. We remember the 10th anniversary poem as well. Go ahead.
अच्छा, वो मैं actually repeat करने वाला था, but छोड़ो, दूसरा पोएम भी करते हैं.
Go ahead. Whatever. I think that was great as well. Go ahead.
ठीक है. This won't be as great because अभी भी कर रहा हूँ, right? So this concept, आज का program का नाम Spark है ना? So Spark लाओ, Spark बनो, right? Bring the spark लाओ, सबको समृद्धि करो. Right, I think that's what we should do. So there was a lot of talk around vision, right? So I think there's a couple of lines from it. सब में विजय की सपने हो, सब में विजय की सपने हो, सबको समाज को विजय करो, right? So that should be our vision, right? I think Vijay Mahajan's vision has to be imbibed in us, and we have to create victory everywhere, right? So there was a lot of talk around working with people, even in small efforts, right? So it goes, sote jage prayas kare. So I think the dreams is that would keep you awake, right? Saath paidal chale, right? Small steps, you have to keep on going, right? samanya ho, sukshma ho, karte chale, right? So it doesn't matter. With all humility, as Prachi said, right? We want to do it small efforts, right? And Abhishek, everybody mentioned that, right? Only with our collective efforts, right? That we'll be able to make that transformation, right? Then there was a lot of things about the why we came here, right? About our satisfaction, right? So it is sahakar jab hum kare, right? When you help people, samtrupti jo aaye, sabko kahi nahi mile. So only when we help people, that satisfaction we won't get, right? Sahakar jab hum kare, samtrupti jo aaye, sabko kahi nahi mile, right? So, then it goes spark lao, spark bano, sabko samriddhi karo. That was my point.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. You just made the day.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And can't be more apt for the occasion. Thank you so much, Mahesh. And on that beautiful note, I think, thank you very much, dear board members. I know couple of members could not join, especially international colleagues couldn't join for various reasons. But maybe another opportunity. But please hang around and enjoy the rest of the evening. And again, thank you so much for sharing your views and interacting with us on this special occasion. Thank you.